Good morning and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Let us begin with the latest headlines. Bangladesh blames homegrown terror and Pakistan's ISI for deadly Dhaka carnage. High alert sounded across 5 border states with India. Body of Indian girl killed to be flown home today. At least 125 people killed, nearly 150 injured in deadliest bomb attack in Iraqi capital Baghdad. Islamic State claims responsibility. The 3 days national mourning declared in Iraq. Cloudburst followed by heavy rains and landslides claimed several lives in Uttarakhand and Arunachal Pradesh. 10 rivers in Uttarakhand in spate. Centre to celebrate 350th birth anniversary of Sikh Guru Gobind Singh, 100 crore rupees earmarked for events to be celebrated across the world. And Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis sail into the third round of Wimbledon Championships. Andy Murray to take on Nick Kyrgios, Serena Williams to battle Svetlana Kuznetsova. The big story this morning, the expansion of the Union Cabinet will take place in the national capital tomorrow. Now, this will be the second expansion since Narendra Modi-led NDA government took charge 2 years ago. The expansion is likely to see inclusion of new faces into the cabinet before the crucial assembly elections in Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and Goa. The expansion could also see a new sports minister, the position lying vacant since Sarmadan Sonowal took over as the chief minister of Assam. For more on this, let's go across to my colleague Vishal Daya, who's joining us on the phone line. Vishal, now cabinet reshuffle on the cards. What more can you tell us?
Well, yes, indeed, this was something which was waiting to happen. In fact, there was a lot of speculation which was going on in both political as well as media circles for quite a while as to when will this happen or whether or not this will happen at all. And also, if at all this will happen, who will, this time around, again, the confidence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and sit on that cabinet table with him. But, the one thing which is final right now is that the cabinet reshuffle will take place tomorrow at 11 a.m. at Rashtrapati Bhavan. But another important point which our sources are telling us is the very fact that there is unlikely, of there being any change in the senior ministers, that's the top-ranking ministers, specifically the cabinet rank, and there is a likelihood that the Prime Minister is not going to touch neither the names nor the portfolios out there in the top 10, 12 ministerial portfolios. But then, apart from that, Minister of State is one category wherein there are a number of vacant spots lying, and that is something which the Prime Minister would like to fill in at this point in time. Very important angle to this reshuffle also is the fact that the assembly elections to the state of Uttar Pradesh are just around the corner, less than 6 months to go for the elections. And this is something which is going to be really significant because the Uttar Pradesh has given more than 70 MPs to the ruling BJP. And before the assembly elections, the ruling party would definitely like to, accommodate some more faces, send a political signal to the, to the voters in the state. That is something which is expected at this stage. But there is one more indication which is coming in from our sources, the fact that there are several ministries, some of them such as the power, coal, and the petroleum as well, which, in which the ministers are not cabinet ranked. They are MOS with independent charge. So some of such ministers may get elevated to the cabinet rank. All this is something which is doing the rounds as of now, but the picture should become clear as we proceed in the day. And by evening, we are hoping that we'll have the final list as to who will be sworn in tomorrow in the cabinet of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
All right, Vishal, thank you so much for those details. So after months of speculations, Prime Minister Narendra Modi all set to bring changes in his cabinet. That is one story that we'll keep tracking through the day. Well, let's move on in the bulletin now. News coming in from Uttarakhand. Well, 18 people have been killed in the state after torrential rains and cloudbursts hit a different part of the states in the early hours on Friday. Now, the rescue operations are still on. Both bodies have been recovered from debris in Pithoragarh region as well as the Chamoli district. Now 10 rivers in the state are in spate.
At least 15 people were killed and several others are missing after cloudbursts and landslides triggered heavy rain in Uttarakhand. Rescue teams continue to look for 25 people who went missing following the landslides.
हम रात भर पूरे खौफ के साए में जिए हैं। एक रात भी हम सोए नहीं है। कंबल लेकर के और सब करके हमने इस मंदिर में हमने शरण दी है और ऊपर से मलबा इतना आया कि हमारे घर टूट गए हैं और रहने की व्यवस्था नहीं है।
Personnel of the NDRF, SDRF, ITBP, SSB and state police were clearing the debris left after the cloudburst in Pithoragarh and Chamoli districts on Friday. Expressing grief over the loss of the lives in Uttarakhand, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar said that the government is working on a plan of action to tackle such natural eventualities and that around 27 researches have been initiated on the Himalayan mountain range.
Cloudburst in Himalayan region is not a rare phenomenon, but as we know that climate change has increased the frequency of such events, and therefore Modi government has first time after independence has allotted 100 crore rupees to carry out studies of various aspects of Himalayan ecology, and we have already started working on 27 projects in which all such disaster resilience and disaster predictions and all such things are already there. So I think with the knowledge we can mitigate the challenge, and therefore what has happened today, the concerned state government and the central concerned ministries, Home Ministry is already on the job.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed grief over the loss of lives due to the cloudburst and heavy rains. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Harish Rawat announced a compensation of 2 lakh rupees each to the families of the victims. He also said that more teams from the state, central authorities and other relief forces have all been kept on high alert as a precautionary measure.
लेकिन सड़कें कुछ जगहों पर टूटी हैं, लेकिन अधिकांश जगहों पर हमने रेस्टोर कर दी हैं, फिर से यातायात आदि प्रारंभ कर दिया गया है और पूरी तरीके से राज्य में अलर्ट की स्थिति है। सब अधिकारी इत्यादि सब अलर्ट में हैं। आपदा प्रबंधन तंत्र पूरी तरीके से मुस्तैदी से काम कर रहा है।
The Dehradun Meteorological Department has issued a warning for the next 48 hours, which stated that heavy to very heavy rainfall could occur at few places across the state, while extremely heavy rainfall could occur at isolated places in all 13 districts. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Meanwhile, monsoon has made its entry into Delhi 2 days after its scheduled arrival, bringing cheer and much-needed respite to residents from the muggy weather. The national capital recorded 23.6 millimeters of rainfall yesterday. There was a steep fall in mercury as the maximum temperature settled at 30.2 degrees Celsius, 7 notches below the season's average. Now, the southwest monsoon has further advanced into remaining parts of western Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, most parts of Haryana, entire Chandigarh and Punjab and some parts of eastern Rajasthan as well. While light to moderate rains occurred in some parts of Himachal Pradesh, even as the weather conditions remained cloudy across the state. Parts of Mumbai also received heavy rainfall in the last 24 hours, even as incessant showers continued to hit other cities like Pune and Nashik. Now, with light to moderate rains in Uttar Pradesh in the last 24 hours, the water levels of important rivers has started rising at a number of places. Meanwhile, the Met Department also said that the overall monsoon deficiency has reduced to 9% after several parts of the country received a good amount of rainfall. On to some other news now. Well, Bangladesh has blamed homegrown terror and Pakistan's ISI for the deadliest terror attacks that left 20 people dead in Dhaka. Now, the country's interior minister has ruled out an Islamic State link. High alert has been sounded across the border with 5 Indian states on alert. Also, the body of the Indian girl who was hacked to death will reach India today. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina led the nation in paying homage to all those who were killed in the attack. Remember, 20 foreigners, including 8 Italians, 7 Japanese and an Indian students, were the victims of the worst terror attack in Bangladesh.
The images released by the IS on SITE Intel Group's Twitter page. Images purportedly of the militants alleged to be the gunmen who carried out the deadly attack at Holy Artisan Bakery Cafe in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Bangladesh, however, dismissing links to the international terror organization, saying the gunmen were Bangladeshis.
সবাই কিন্তু বাংলাদেশী সবাই বাংলাদেশি এবং এরা কোনো বিদেশি নয় এবং বিদেশির সঙ্গে এদের কানেকশন আছে বলে আমাদের মনে হয় না। তো এরা সবই হোমগ্রাউন্ড জঙ্গি। আমরা সবসময় যেটা বলি আমাদের দেশের এদের উৎপত্তি এদের দেশেই, এরা দেশের নিয়ে কাজ করছে, দেশের লোকজনের পরামর্শে এরা কাজ করছে।
Dhaka pointing fingers at homegrown outfit the JMB or Jamaatul Mujahideen Bangladesh. Political advisor to the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina also blaming Pakistan's ISI for the attack, alleging it wants to derail the current government. High alert has been sounded on the Indo-Bangla border in 5 states following the Friday carnage in Dhaka that killed 20 people. Alert is along borders with West Bengal, Tripura, Meghalaya, Assam and Mizoram.
We have 20 attacks, more than that, and more than 60 persons are under our custody who have been detected with these crimes. So after getting all the interrogation reports and everything, there is no evidence whatsoever these theories do have any international connections. It is totally a homegrown terrorist network.
Meanwhile, the body of the Indian teenager Tarishi Jain, who was among those hacked to death, will be flown to Delhi today. 20 foreigners, including 8 Italians, 7 Japanese and the Indian student, were the victims of the worst terror attack in Bangladesh. 6 attackers were killed and 1 captured alive in the operation. Candlelight vigil was held late on Sunday at Dhaka's Shahid Minar, also known as Martyrs Monument, to pay respects for the victims of the attack. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, on to the other big story. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid a tribute to prominent Sikh soldier Bapa Banda Singh on Sunday at the event attended by allies the Shiromani Akali Dal in the national capital. Modi also announced elaborate celebrations for the birth anniversary of Guru Gobind Singh next year. The centre has earmarked 100 crore rupees to celebrate the 350th birth anniversary of Sikh Guru Gobind Singh across the country next year. The Punjab government will also contribute a matching amount for the event. The announcement was made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday at a function to commemorate the 300th anniversary of martyrdom of Sikh General Baba Banda Singh. The Prime Minister also said that a high-level national committee will be formed to chalk out an elaborate plan for the celebrations. Banda Singh Bahadur, a disciple of Guru Gobind Singh, is credited with establishing Sikh rule in Punjab. He assembled a force to fight the Mughal Empire. He was captured and executed by the Mughals in Delhi in 1716.
गुरु गोविंद सिंह जी के जन्म की 350वीं वर्षगांठ बहुत ही सम्मान के साथ भारत सरकार मनाने जा रही है और देश के हर कोने में मनाई जाएगी। दुनिया भर में जहां हिंदुस्तानी फैले हैं उन सब जगह पर मनाई जाएगी।
Sunday's event was also attended by Punjab Chief Minister Prakar Singh Badal and Deputy Chief Minister Sukhbir Badal. Sukhbir Badal made a special mention of the upcoming elections in the state and said that the BJP Shiromani Akali Dal alliance will fight the Congress, AAP opposition and also duck anti-incumbency.
कई ऐसियां पार्टियां जिन्होंने टैंਕਾਂ ਤੋਪਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਮਤੇ ਹਮਲਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹ ਹੁਣ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਉਹ ਅਤਵਾਦੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਹਰ ਸਿੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅਤਵਾਦੀ ਬਣਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਹਰ ਸਿੱਖ ਨੂੰ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਸ਼ੇੜੀ ਹੈ ਆ ਉਹ ਤਾਕਤਾਂ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਦਿਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੌਮ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀ ਨਫ਼ਰਤ ਹੈ।
With the elections due in Punjab in 2017, parties are scrambling to appease voters and outflank their competition in the process. Arvind Kejriwal-led Aam Aadmi Party has been trying hard to make inroads in Punjab recently and named the Barapula Bridge in Delhi after Baba Banda Singh. This is Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV. Well, BSP Chief Mayawati has trained her guns on the centre and the Akhilesh Yadav government in Uttar Pradesh for the law and order situation in the state. Now, at a press meet on Sunday, Mayawati said that the centre should have imposed President's rule in Uttar Pradesh to fulfill its promise to improve law and order situation in the state. She alleged that centre has failed to fulfill its constitutional obligation. She also said that the Akhilesh Yadav government has failed to control crime in the state despite law and order being a state subject. Meanwhile, the BJP hit back at Mayawati, saying that she is making allegations since she senses defeat for her party in the upcoming assembly polls.
उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता को एक खास आश्वासन था कि केंद्र में भाजपा की सरकार बन जाने पर वह उत्तर प्रदेश की ध्वस्त हुई कानून व्यवस्था के मामले में जरूर दखल देगी। लेकिन अब केंद्र में अपने राजनीतिक स्वार्थ के साथ साथ यहाँ उत्तर प्रदेश में सपा से भाजपा की अंदरूनी मिलीभगत के कारण ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं किया जा रहा है।
बहन जी को अपनी हार का एहसास हो रहा है, इसलिए बौखलाहट में इस तरह की बयानबाजी कर रही हैं। और मैं मानता हूं कि जुगलबंदी सपा और बसपा की थी, और जो कॉकटेल था उत्तर प्रदेश में सपा बसपा और कांग्रेस का, अब वो लोगों के सामने एक्सपोज हुआ है।
Well, in news at 10, we'll take a very short break here. Up next, we have all the international and sports news. Don't go anywhere.
Hemkund Sahib, sacred shrine of the Sikhs, widely acclaimed for being the highest in the world, located in the Himalayas at an altitude of 15,200 feet. The Gurudwara is designed with an image of an upside-down lotus flower.
Welcome back. The big international story. Well, 3 days of national mourning has been declared in Iraq after a huge bomb in the capital Baghdad killed at least 125 people and wounded about 150. In the attack claimed by Islamic State, an explosive-ridden lorry was detonated in the Karada district while families were shopping for the holiday marking the end of Ramadan. Well, the bombing came a week after Iraqi forces recaptured the city of Fallujah from the Islamic State.
يعني كل عيد يعني يجي العيد انه نفرح نعيد العالم، هو هذا عيدنا، هذا عيدنا، هذا عيدنا اللي نفرح به العالم، هذا العيد اللي نفرح به. انه جاي يشتري هدوم ملابس العيد، يشتري شيفين، ثالثه شيفين.
Ball of gloom and mourning in Iraq. After a brazen bomb attack on Saturday midnight in the heart of capital killed at least 125 people and wounded about 150. As the families gathered in the Karada district after breaking fast for the holy month of Ramadan and prepared for Eid ul-Fitr, a lorry packed with explosives detonated. Within seconds, the whole area engulfed in flames and festivities were replaced with scenes of rescue workers pulling bodies from the rubble. The Islamic State has claimed responsibility for this deadliest single attack in the war-weary country in years.
يعني ودك كراده وهذا كل العالم قاعد تشتري عمود العيد وده تعيد وده تفرح وده تتمشى ما تحسك الا ساعه على غفله طق انفجار هز الامه هز ما تحسك الا مشوا بالدنيا صارت سوداء بوجهك.
Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi called the Karada strike dastardly and cowardly and announced a 3-day mourning period. He visited the mainly Shia area on Sunday, but his convoy was greeted by angry crowds. He later announced increased security measures, including the scrapping of fake bomb detectors and use of improved vehicle inspection systems at entry points into Baghdad and other provinces. The US said that the latest attack has strengthened its resolve to support Iraqi forces in their fight against Islamic State. Pope Francis has also condemned the attack.
E dei feriti dell'attentato avvenuto ieri a Dacca e anche a quello avvenuto a Baghdad. Preghiamo insieme.
This flurry of Islamic State strikes during Ramadan comes as the US says the group is losing ground in the warfare across Syria and Iraq. Iraqi forces announced last week that they have seized the city of Fallujah from the Islamic State. The forces are now turning their attention to Mosul, which has been under IS control since 2014. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. News from Australia now, where a prospect of a hung parliament looms. Well, Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull and his rival Bill Shorten have reached out to the crossbenchers who have emerged as kingmakers after a closely contested election. Well, the Turnbull-led government suffered a 2.8% swing against it at the election. Well, the counting would resume on Tuesday. While the Australian Electoral Commission cannot say when the result would be known, Turnbull is confident of a resolution by the end of this week. While if the ruling coalition led by Turnbull winds up with fewer than 76 seats, it would need to negotiate with the independents and minor parties to stay in power. Now, crossbench and independent MPs would prove kingmakers in that scenario, and the Prime Minister confirmed that he had opened lines of communication with them. Opposition Labour leader Shorten, however, said that Turnbull's policies were the clear loser of the double dissolution election, which he said had delivered anything but stability for the nation.
I remain quietly confident that a majority coalition government will be returned at this election when the counting is completed. We will have a resolution by the end of the week. I've no doubt about that. And what we will do is ensure that we work constructively and effectively with all of the members of the new parliament to ensure that we deliver the stability and the leadership that Australians expect.
What I'm very sure of is that whilst we don't know who the winner was, there's clearly one loser. Malcolm Turnbull's agenda for Australia and his efforts to cut Medicare.
Let's get you some more international stories. Here is the World Wrap. China will hold military drills in the disputed South China Sea ahead of a ruling by an international court on a challenge to its maritime claims. The drills will be held from 5th to 11th of July in waters around the Paracel Islands, with the ships prohibited from entering the waters in that time. The drills come even as the Permanent Court of Arbitration is due to issue a decision on 12th of July on a challenge made by the Philippines to China's claims in the region. However, China insists the panel has no authority to rule in the case. 13 suspects were charged on Sunday over the Istanbul airport suicide bombings, which left over 45 people dead. Now, Turkish officials have pointed blame at the Islamic State terrorists for Tuesday's gun and bomb spree at the Ataturk airport. The suspects, who are in police custody, were charged with belonging to a terror group, homicide, and endangering the unity of the state. Turkey's Prime Minister, meanwhile, said that police had arrested a total of 29 people to date over the attacks. A suspect suicide attacker has been killed after detonating a device near the U.S. consulate in the Saudi Arabian city of Jeddah. 2 policemen were reportedly injured in the accident, and the attacker is said to be dead. And the attack came in the early hours of the U.S. Independence Day. The Jeddah consulate was the scene of a militant attack in 2004, which left 9 people dead. And search teams have recovered more human remains from the Egypt airplane that crashed into the Mediterranean in the month of May. The search vessel retrieved all the human remains that were mapped at the crash location. The Airbus A320 plunged into the sea on 19th of May while heading from Cairo to Paris, killing all 66 people on board. Now, a committee probing the plane disaster has said that the memory chips of the Egypt's black box voice recorder are intact, and the investigators should be able to access them. And now news from the Euro Cup. Well, France beat Iceland 5-2 to set up a semi-final clash with Germany on Thursday. While the defeat put an end to the fairy tale of the Icelandic men's national football team. Finally, well, after beating England 2-1 on Monday night, Iceland was confident of a good show. But only 12 minutes into the game, Oliver Giroud scored the game's first goal. Well, that was followed by a second goal by Paul Pogba. Then a third goal was scored by Dimitri Payet in the 43rd minute, closely followed by one from Antoine Griezmann only 2 minutes later. Well, Iceland fought hard during the second half, managing to score twice. Despite a tough game, Icelandic fans enthusiastically supported their heroes till the very end, well aware that they had already exceeded all expectations at the championship.
It's Olivier Giroud for France.
And here is some news from Wimbledon Championship. While Andy Murray faces his first serious test at Wimbledon 2016 when he meets Australian Nick Kyrgios in the last 16 on Monday. Now, following Novak Djokovic's shock exit, British number 1 Andy Murray is the favourite to win his second title, while Kyrgios is looking to reach only his third Grand Slam quarter-final. Now, Kyrgios has not defeated Andy Murray in any of their previous 4 meetings. Also, unseeded Stevens Johnsons will attempt to pull off an upset against 7-time Wimbledon champion Roger Federer. Federer has yet to drop a set at Wimbledon this year. Also, Sam Querrey will return to action, facing Nicholas Mahut 2 days after pulling off the biggest shock of the tournament so far. Now, Querrey, remember, knocked out defending champion Novak Djokovic in a 4-set thriller to end Djokovic's run of 30 successive victories. Meanwhile, last year's semi-finalist Richard Gasquet returns to action on Court 1 against Joe Wilfried Tsonga. Tsonga is back in action 24 hours after an epic 4-hour battle that saw him win 19-17 in the 5th set against Isner. Also in the women's draw, defending champion Serena Williams will face Russia's Svetlana Kuznetsova after securing the 30th Grand Slam win of her career on Sunday. Sister Venus Williams will face number 12 seed Carla Suarez Navarro on Court 2. Meanwhile, for India, it was a mixed day at the Wimbledon Championship. In the women's doubles, Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis sailed through to the third round. Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis took only 52 minutes in moving to the third round with a 6-3, 6-1 win. Meanwhile, Liana Pace and Marcin Markowski lost in the men's doubles competition. The 10th-seeded Finnish-Australian pair of John Peers and Henry Kontinen needed only 62 minutes to dispatch Pace and his Polish partner. And here is some more sporting action in Sports Beat. The Indian men's hockey team played out a 1-all draw against Spain in the final match of the Six Nations International Tournament on Sunday. India attacked during the second quarter of the match and defender Raghunath levelled the score in the 18th minute after Spain scored earlier. With seconds to play, India came close to scoring again, but the effort hit the crossbar and fell safely to leave the two teams with an equal share of the points. In cricket, Virat Kohli maintained his second spot in the one-day international standings released by the ICC on Sunday. However, India is in the third spot. World champions Australia have retained their number 1 ranking. The biggest gainer is the West Indies, which jumped up to the 7th spot. Now, South Africa's AB de Villiers continues to lead the batsman rankings. In Formula 1, Lewis Hamilton won the Australian Grand Prix after colliding with Nico Rosberg in the last lap, who finished in the 4th spot. Now, Hamilton's victory was the 250th by a British driver since the championship started in 1950 and the 46th of his career. Hamilton's win cut the Germans' lead in the title race from 24 points to 11, ahead of the next weekend's British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Lionel Messi will represent Argentina once again at the 2018 World Cup in Russia, according to the national team Masseur. Last Sunday, Messi shocked the world by announcing his international retirement after Argentina lost to Chile on penalties in the Copa America final. De Andreas also revealed that Messi did not notify his decision with the camp, admitting that the Copa America loss was the hardest defeat of his career. That's all in this edition of news, but news and updates continue on your channel. Thanks for your time.